Welcome dear Autogefühl fans. Bienvenue au Provence, chers amis d'Autogefühl français. Welcome especially to our French friends today, because we are in southern France here today presenting the Citroen C4 Facelift, now here in 2015. This car actually, the Citroen C4, the current model, has been produced since 2010 and has been already sold over 450,000 times. Well, and now there's a facelift. There aren't so much changes, but they're actually quite neat. And I'm going to explain all of the changes in the facelift today, and we are also looking at some new engines. So welcome here to this review, and we are looking forward to check out that car. The basic price in Germany for the Citroen C4 is 17,000 euros. However, the facelift with the new headlights you only get at the niveau level of selection. That is already about 20,000 euros then, but still okay, I think. And you get some more discount at the dealer, of course. So the new headlights are full LED and have this new design style. I think it's very beautifully done, and you know, the French manufacturers always look out for a very beautiful and harmonic design. I think that's also well done here, especially because it also fits to the front Citroen logo. So these are new headlights in the front, as well as new taillights here with the 3D effect. You see it's a little bit cascading coming out, so this 3D effect is created. And again to say, this starts with a level of selection. This one here, however, is the top trim level called Shine. But then it's already included, of course, as well. There are also new alloys in the offering. In this case, they are 17-inch. 17-inch is not too big. However, I think they look pretty well at this car here now. And I love such design features here, to see the contrasting handlebars in shiny black here, especially now when some of the raindrops are right on them. So altogether, I must say, the French manufacturer got a quite stylish design here, and we got a length of 4.32 meters, so we are right in that compact class. Right from the same corporation comes the Peugeot 308, and the Volkswagen Golf is of course also a competitor. But I can tell you, I'm going to tell more about it while driving later. It has a quite different concept when riding, and so this will be also very exciting. For now, we'll take a look at the engine and then at the interior. So let's look beneath the hood, because that is also one of the news. The Autogefühl hood hydraulic damper check failed in this case, so we need to put it up manually, and it's also in reverse, so from upside to the downside. Very strange system. Actually, I'm not quite sure where to put it. I think it's here. Yeah, well, okay. So let's now look at the engines. Actually, we are focusing today on two new engines, because they are new with the Euro 6 norm. This one here is the new petrol engine. They are both three cylinders, and this one is a petrol engine with 130 horsepower. And there's also a new diesel with 120 horsepower, also in the Euro 6 norm. Well, we've driven this one already, has a good acceleration. They're both actually about 12 seconds, the new engines, the diesel as well as the petrol engine. They're supposed to consume less fuel, but I can already tell you, even with a lot of motorway in it, we are right now at about 8.5 liters on 100 kilometers. I'm not quite satisfied with the consumption, but I'm very fine with the acceleration and the general characteristic of this engine. And here, this petrol engine is also possible to pick it with the automatic gearbox. It is not like in the C4 Cactus. Check out that review as well, it's linked in the video description, where we have that automated manual transmission, which is kind of weird. This one is a real automatic transmission here, and it's also quite nice, I can tell you, while driving as well. Starting in with the interior, with the seat, I think it is very beautifully done just from the optical side. For my opinion, this is artificial leather because it feels kind of hard. Well, but I think generally it's good also to use artificial leather. We had the discussion before. And well, they make a very good impression and are also very comfortable. We've ridden along like 100 kilometers now, and I can say very comfortable also for tall people. These ones are optional, of course. We also got seat massage function here. This is just for the lumbar support, in and out, and this is in the massage function, which basically just puts the lumbar support in and out, you know, back and forth. Well, it's not a very complicated massage function, but I must say, which other car offers that one in a compact class? Well, it's quite nice as well. The seat heating is here as well. We got 3 levels of seat heating. That is of course optional. However, we also got some new Siri features in the interior. For example, we got a new 7-inch control screen. I can show you that later on. As well, we also got an automated climate control now, also from Siri production, when you have this selection level, which the facelift is headed to. So, and now let's change the view to look at the steering wheel. Let's say something more to the headrest. Actually, they're quite hard, but they have a good advantage because they're adjustable, so I can pull this to the front and then I can really lean onto the headrest while driving. That is also quite upsetting, and it also looks quite fancy, I must say. The same accounts for the steering wheel. It's a very nice design, also with a flattened end, that's quite sporty, and also with a structure here on the lower part. General, very good material quality. But it's not that kind of sporty steering when it's in action, but I can tell you something more about it later. Just from the optical side, very nice. Also the quality of buttons is quite good, for example, for the cruise control here. What is very nice also is the instruments, because they can be in different colors. And I'm going to show you that in detail now, because that is, well, some kind of French feature which I don't find with a lot of other cars. For example, here's the first button. I can change the color, white, now different kind of blue color schemes. For my opinion, or for my taste, I love it when it's really in dark blue, and there can also be a contrasting color for the numbers inside. So I can put the blue on the outside and white on the inside, or here blue on the inside and white on the outside. So that's a pretty nice feature. And there's also a third knob, and this is for the brightness. Better can see it at night, but there you can also change the gamma of the tachometer. Then let's look at the new 7-inch touchscreen. That is actually very good for the whole interior, because we don't have so many buttons left in here now. And well, the general system is, well, it's not the most modern one, I must say. It looks better basically, for example, in the Peugeot 308, but the response time is quite okay if I zoom in and out now. It's also not the most modern style for the GPS, but it works pretty well. We didn't have any problems when controlling the route. And you can change with the hotkeys here as well. For example, here for the consumption. There we can see we are about 8 liters in the last 90 kilometers. Can be better, I think. And there are also, of course, the options for the telephone where you can connect your phone via Bluetooth. So you get along with it pretty well. Then another highlight, I think, is the top of the dashboard. Look at that. It's a very great structure. So it's not that kind of very expensive surface, but here you can see that you can already have something exclusive in the compact class. It also feels quite good. So that is also well done by the French manufacturer here. And then the lower part, I've told you, with the selection facelift level, we also have the automated climate control. So we also have 2 zones here for driver. For example, you know, when the co-driver wants to have it a little bit warmer and the driver a little bit colder, that's possible. You just have to decide where the air is basically coming from. There you can change it for each side. Then here you got the automated gearbox. It's, as I said, not like in the C4 Cactus, where you have this very crazy automated manual gearbox. This one is real automatic gearbox. I'm quite satisfied with it. Also, with some chrome here at the shifting level, that's also quite pleasing. And then for your USB, it's below there, also kind of practical. And one very unique feature is hidden below the armrest. And there you can put a basic plug in it. So that would be the plug we use in Germany or most all over Europe. Well, that's so you can also charge anything here, basically, when sitting here. And of course, also the iPhone, for example, either here or via the USB, but here it's of course kind of faster. By the way, when filming, you always have to do something with the car, which is quite extraordinary in comparison just to do some photographs. So, for example, to have a good perspective at the border, you have to remove the headrest, and there you can see how beautifully it's done. You can put your arms between it. I think isn't it beautiful? What do you think about that headrest? So let's now check the rear compartment. As always, to have comparable test, I got the driver's seat as I would be driving, with 1.86 meters in height. So, and well, I usually have to sit down, and now I cannot put my shoes under the seat quite well. The knees, however, are quite okay still. We are still in a compact car, you have to remember. So if I put the seat a little bit higher when I'm driving it now, that would be, I think, fitting perfectly fine. About the headroom, it's also okay. I got that kind of space above my head. So I think in general it's quite good. You see it also when you look at the exterior. It's not so much about the very sport design. You see that also the passengers inside have a lot of space here. I think it's quite comfortable for a compact car. If just the driver would have the seat a little bit more upward, and then I think it's perfectly fine also with traveling with 4 adults in here. Finally, the trunk. Looks a little bit bulky, the rear, don't you think? But then again, we also got a quite bulky trunk. In numbers, it's 408 liters, and I think you really got a lot of space for a compact car. It's also not too high, the loading sill here, and you see we got some baggage in here, and also a very practical net to secure your stuff when you are racing. But I think if you just also get the practical impressions, it's a lot of space here. Well, the rear window is not too steep, so you don't lose too much space there as well. I think you can be quite good with that, so whatever you want to carry. So let's now get to some driving to show you, but the key first. I think it's also quite nicely done with a little bit of chrome element at the side, and it's also quite heavy, so also has a good quality impression. We got the start-stop button. Okay. Get to the GPS. And now a little bit. So I'm driving without the GPS sound now. Get into the road again first. You know, when we're driving quite slow about the steering, it needs a lot of steering ray, in my opinion, so it's not that kind of progressive steering. And you don't also have so much feeling for the steering, I must say. Then as soon as you're on the road, you immediately realize this car is really all about comfort. You don't have the direct steering response, you also don't have a stiff suspension. But well, you know, when you feel some bumps on the road, they are all evened out pretty well. So I'm quite convinced also of the suspension if, you know, you're not keen on that very sporty driving. So it's really more about what you really want. The steering could be a little bit more direct, even if we are seeking for a more comfortable car. But I think it's still okay, however. It's also more that I think the optical side of the steering wheel is kind of here more important than the real functional side. But I think it's altogether quite okay still. I'm looking also at the nice blue illuminated instruments now. This is quite pleasing to me, and they're also quite clear. It's something different, just really something different. So now we're going a lot faster than inside the city. And we are trying to get something of that dynamic driving. Then we realize, well, it doesn't feel like you want to be driving quite fast with this car here because of the rather soft suspension. It really more gives you the feeling I want to go a little bit slower pace and just want to enjoy my traveling, which is also not a bad feature. In general here we also got a very spacious feeling here in the front. So especially the A-pillar gives you a lot of space here, and well, that's also a great thing when traveling, I must say. Also the look in the front window is not that steep, so you also got a quite a good view here as well. Looking at the sides and also at the back, the whole car always gives you a good overview in driving, I must say. So and then let's now push the throttle. Yeah, I think the acceleration is quite fine of this 3-cylinder petrol engine. It's of course not a race engine, but also in comparison here, automatic manual transmission, I can really recommend the automatic transmission here. You don't feel the shifting changes that hard, so that's quite smooth between the, for example, 3, 4th gear we are now. It's quite okay as well. So about these seats, I must say I really feel comfortable here, also on the long-term performance. So I can just recommend these seats. It doesn't have to be the leather option. It's also fine when you just got the basic fabric option. It's more about just the basic form of the seats, which is very good, I think. And this also fits to this comfort feeling. Citroen says themselves they want to focus on comfort with this car, and also on the sound isolation. Well, about the sound isolation, I cannot really confirm that. I think it's not really bad, but I think it's also not extraordinary. I think about the sound isolation, that just the volume we have here from something which is outside, or the rolling from the tires, I think that's also better, for example, in the German car models. But as I said, it's not really bad either. So altogether, well, there's not so much to moan about that car, I must say. And we had some French cars in the past where we could moan something more. So I think they found quite a good way here with the facelift to even out some of the little mistakes we have here and to add more to this quality feeling we have here in that car. To conclude about the Citroen C4 facelift, I must say I was quite surprised because the car gives a very solid impression, and also the quality of materials is quite good. Of course, we had the top trim level here now, but already in this new Selection facelift trim level, which is not so much more expensive than the basic trim level, I think it's quite well done. Also from driving, well, it's really a different concept than, for example, a Volkswagen Golf. The German cars are much sportier, however, these ones are really set on for comfort. So we had a very comfortable ride, not a sporty ride. It's not about good or bad, it's more like, what do you personally want, what do you personally expect from a car? So this one is really better for longer traveling, especially, for example, when you think of French motorways, where you go sometimes only 90 kilometers an hour or something like that, but a very long way. This one is surely the more comfortable car here in the compact class. So altogether, we were quite content with the quality of the car and also with the new features, and I think it's also a very good price they are offering.